pain of unread messages. Stop. Put your phone down. You know exactly what you're doing. You stare at the dark screen. You read their last message, check the time, count the minutes, and then think your joke was too quick or your question was too boring. You rewrite the text message in your mind, then delete it, then rewrite it, worrying about whether the emoji will make you look weak. Most men waste hours, even years of their lives trapped in this mental prison. They overthink every interaction. They rehearse conversations in the shower. They think about what to say next to keep her attention. But I want you to listen carefully. By the time you figure out how to keep her attention, you'll have already lost it. The truth is simple, but it's the truth society hides. You've been told that attraction is a negotiation. You've been told that if you're nice enough, willing enough, and persistent enough, you'll eventually see your worth. But deep down, you know that's not true. You've seen the good guy get ignored while the indifferent one gets all the attention. Why? Not because she likes fools, not because she's superficial, but because that's how the human mind works. Just 3 words, said the right way, are enough to make a woman think about you all the time without her having to lift a finger. No, I'm not talking about blunt, harsh words like, "I love you." I'm not talking about words that make you feel good. I'm not talking about pretending to be someone else. I'm talking about words that gently seep into her soul, words that pass through her skeptical, logical mind and awaken that part of her brain that you'll listen to again and again like a song you love. Here's a real secret that most people don't know. Men and women generally don't care about their looks, nor do they strive for perfection. They care about how they feel. Beauty fades and perfection becomes tiresome, but feelings remain, feelings that cannot be described. When your words make her feel what no one else can, you won't just be charming, you'll be remembered forever. That's why these 3 simple words are so important. I'm going to share them with you, but if I give them to you now, you'll misuse them. You'll use them like a desperate incantation, and they won't do any good. To use them, you must first understand the machine you're using. You must understand consciousness. Follow along. By the end of this video, you'll not only gain a rule, but a new way of seeing the world. 3 out of 5 curses. Part 1, the logic trap. Now, let's begin. This isn't a cheap trick. This isn't a movie trope, and it's not a funny manipulation or control ploy. It's a fact. This is based on deep evolutionary psychology. Most men believe that attraction stems from more messages, more explanations, more communication, more effort to prove their interest. They envision attraction as a checklist. He's attractive. Look. Good. Look. He replies to my messages promptly. Look. Good. I like him. If it were that easy, dating apps would have solved the loneliness problem a decade ago. But we feel lonelier than ever? Why? Because the relationships that drive us, the ones that keep us up at night, aren't rational. They're emotional. They're symbolic. They reside in a part of the mind we can't see but can feel. The Swiss psychologist Carl Jung spent his life studying this hidden world, which he called the unconscious. He said it explains all the failures you've experienced in your romantic relationships. Unless you activate the unconscious, it controls your life, and you call it chance. Think about it. You call it chance. She tells you, "I don't feel any spark," indicating that her unconscious isn't awake. When you say, "You're a great person, but your logic is sound while your emotions are absent," you're trying to negotiate with logic. You're bringing a calculator to a martial arts match. When you text someone, "Hi, how was your day?" you're being polite. You're confident, but at the same time invisible. You're talking to her subconscious. It's the part of her brain that writes letters, pays taxes, and makes grocery lists. That part of her brain is boring. It needs stimulation. When those thoughts are too present, too predictable, and too rational, they become part of the background noise. They become like furniture, and nobody likes furniture. Part 2, pattern analysis. To understand why these 3 words are so effective, you need to understand how the human brain processes information. Our brains are prediction machines. We were engineered by evolution to predict what will happen next in order to survive. When we see a lion, we run. When we see the sunset, we seek shelter. In our modern world, this predictive mechanism is used in social interactions. When a woman meets a man, her mind immediately tries to categorize him. Is he confident? Is he desperate? Is he nervous? Is he boring? Men often fall into a predictable category within the first 5 minutes. You ask him the same questions. Where is he from? What does he do for a living? Does he agree with everything you say? They send mixed messages. When she doesn't respond, her mind predicts your behavior. Well, I know this person. I like them more than they like me. They're safe. I don't need to worry about them or protect them. I can check my phone later. And so the attraction fades. Not because you're a bad person, but because there's no tension. There's no secret. To create an addiction, and I use that word cautiously, you have to break the pattern. You have to be a malfunction in the predictive machine. The novelty lies in the language of consciousness. Anything that breaks the usual pattern, anything that disrupts the automatic rhythm of daily life is considered important by the brain. Imagine you're driving home. You take the same route every day. You don't remember anything about the journey. You drive automatically. But when a fire truck with its lights on appears on the side of the road, you stop, you see it, and later you remember it. You become the fire truck, not the sidewalk. The 3 words I want to tell you are like a blueprint. They stop her from thinking automatically. They force her to stop scrolling, stop thinking about work, and focus her mental energy 100% on you. Part 3, the psychology of signals. Before we get into the finer points, we need to discuss emotional anchoring. The mind doesn't store words. It preserves the emotions associated with images. You might not remember the sentence your best friend said to you 10 years ago, but you'll remember how much you laughed. You'll remember how you felt. Most texts from men carry no emotional weight. What do? No weight. Have a great Thursday. Negative weight. It sounds like a formal email. You need symbolic words. Carl Jung talked about this, about the feminine side of a man's consciousness and the masculine side of a woman's consciousness. True attraction happens when you speak to her feminine side, when you embody what she feels she lacks. These words often signify one certainty in a confusing world, 2 challenges in a world full of wonder, and 3 depths in a world of excess. Because 3 words encompass these 3 things: certainty, challenge, depth, and commitment. Why is silence your ally? Before you use words, here's the final piece of the puzzle. Most men fear silence. If silence falls during a conversation, you rush to fill it. You send a funny picture. You ask another question. This shows anxiety. It shows you're uncomfortable with yourself. A man with a strong personality, on the other hand, feels comfortable in silence. He knows that silence can create tension. Imagine a horror movie or a romance. The most powerful moments aren't during the conversation, but in the silence before the kiss, the silence before the panic attack. You have to be prepared to prolong the conversation, to let her consider your intentions. It's in that silence, in that moment, that her mind begins to think. Her thoughts are more powerful than any message she sends. When she thinks about you, she invests in you. When she thinks about what you do, she forms a mental image of you. Your goal isn't to be the person she texts all day, but to be the person she thinks about all day because you haven't texted her. 1720 Part 4 year. I promise you 3 words, words that will stick in her mind, words that will create a vicious cycle in her mind. Here's the situation. You're in conversation. Maybe you're texting. Maybe you're talking face to face. Things are going well, but the silence is painful. Or maybe she's telling you something about herself, something a little strange, something real. Or maybe you're just acting normal. Most guys would say, haha, that's cool, or good. But instead, you stop and look at her. You look at her or wait a moment before texting her and saying, I'm curious. Or, if you want a more casual way of putting it, I'm just wondering. That's it, I'm excited. You might be wondering, is that all? Here's the secret. Yes. And if you think this is too simple, you're missing the psychological depth of this statement. Let me explain why it bypasses your logical mind and goes directly to the subconscious. First, the higher level, the right framework. When you tell her you love her, you're giving her your authority. You're asking her permission. When you say you're curious, you're telling her you're evaluating her. You're the one evaluating her. You don't believe it yet, but you're examining her closely. This shifts the balance. Suddenly, the prize you wanted isn't her. It's a perplexing mystery, and that's what's stirring her consciousness. She's striving to resolve the plot's climax. Secondly, it's ambiguous. It's an open loop. I love you is a closed statement. It's over. There's no ambiguity. It's an open loop that excites me. Why are you so excited? What did she do? Is it good or bad? Is it her dark side or her bright side? Her mind is incapable of closing this loop, so she asks, why? What do you mean? And now we're talking about your personality and your perspective on it, not the surrounding environment. Third, this underscores her uniqueness. Every woman wants to be seen, not to be observed. To be noticed means she's complex. It means she's different from other women. He says, I see aspects of you that other men don't see. It's a compliment. But getting the rest is a compliment. Fourth, it's safe, but it involves risk. It's not aggressive. It's not sexual harassment. It's a social concept, but it carries a sexual connotation. Self-reflection means wanting to know more, getting closer, and revealing layers. It creates intimacy without fear. Part 5. How to apply it. Context is important. You can't just say it. If she says, I ate a sandwich, and you say, I'm hungry, you'll sound like an odd one out. Context is key, the setting. Expect her to share an opinion, a habit, or a story. She might say, honestly, I hate going to clubs. I'd rather sit on my rooftop and watch the city. The boring guy says, yeah, clubs are noisy. I like rooftops too. The conversation ends. The attractive guy says, wait a minute, I know I like you. She replies, what? Why? Don't give her a straight answer right away. Keep the suspense going. Most people follow the crowd. You seem to have a whole other world in your head. That's rare. You've accomplished just 3 things. First, you've been recognized, and that's a great feeling. Second, you've faced a challenge. Third, you've created an emotional connection, and that's wonderful. Communication styles vary. If the conversation falters or your responses are brief, avoid following up. Wait a few hours, then send this message. I know this wasn't what I expected. This is a form of manipulation. What do you mean by asking, will she reply? I'm not sure yet, but I'm interested. This creates a void in her mind. She needs to know your opinion of her. This activates the dopamine system, so be careful not to overuse it. The most important thing isn't the food, but the spices. You can't be mysterious and alluring all the time, or you'll become a joke. Authenticity is the foundation of attraction. Use it when it feels right and when you want to take the relationship from friendship to love. But most importantly, be a man with genuine charisma. It requires you to set standards. If you're attracted to every woman you see simply for her looks, you lack standards. You should be attracted to her mind, her mystery, her intelligence, her spirit. When she says, I'm deeply attracted to you, she must be showing you something genuine. The bottom line, let's set a price. Let's lower it. The words I need are powerful, yes, but the power behind them is what changes your life. That's true power. I'm a man of opportunity, a man who creates his own reality. I don't want a woman who compliments me. I want a woman who empowers me. When you operate within this framework, you won't need to memorize pre-written scripts. Don't worry about emojis. You're naturally less available because you're busy building your life. You're naturally more mysterious because you don't reveal your innermost self to strangers. You're naturally more attractive because you don't seek acceptance. Most men are attention seekers. They pray for love. They pray for answers. The king doesn't pray. He invites. When you say, I care, you invite her into your world. You open the door a crack to see if she's brave enough to open it. This is the shift in thinking that Carl Jung wanted to bring about in his consciousness. When you realize that you are the prize, that her attention is valuable, and that it stems from her investment, not your effort, everything changes. You stop chasing after her. You stop worrying. You stop trying to be perfect. You realize that you don't need flowery words or constant communication. You just need to know how to speak in a way that sticks in her memory. So the next time you're looking at your phone wondering what to say, don't be nice. Don't be boring. Be mysterious, be challenging, be the one who cares, but never try to win her heart.